All right, good evening, everyone. We're on the 37th episode of the Priest Legacy DLC for Cultist Simulator, playing as Harold Davidson. I am System Jock. So we've almost finished off the continent. We're on our way to, sorry, I can never remember the name of this, Chateau Raveline. So we've got Slee and Pope Clifton, and so that's really all that we need to add. However, we did have the kind of the botched investigation by the Suppression Bureau, so we can take our raw profit and add them to the expedition as well. Now, one concern that we will have will be our dread. It's not as big of a problem as it seems at first, for the simple reason that in 19 seconds, 19 and a half, it's going to pick up whatever available card, whatever either a dread or a contentment card on the table. Now, Icy Atmosphere is level 6 influence for winter, and the Bitter Atmosphere is level 10 influence. So these are going to need more than a minute to decay. So in this case, the only thing that's going to be available to this magnet slot is the contentment. So in that case, that will tranquilize the Season of Despair, and we'll be fine. When the rattling in the soul becomes a buzzing in the brain, that will turn into restlessness. After that point, we will wind up painting it. And so it's not guaranteed, but we're likely going to wind up with another contentment, so we can probably get rid of at least one of these. We also have the option of using the talk verb to try and bring some people in. Or actually, sorry, I thought I had that option, but then it occurred to me that we don't have enough knock lore to be able to do that with my pawns, so we don't actually have that option available to us. In any case, I really just need to deal with sort of one sort of, not random, but one sort of unaccounted for dread when all is said and done. So if we wind up with a second Season of Despair coming... Oh, sorry, actually, yeah, I was mistaken. The Season of Ardors... Nope, actually, I don't think that contentment will last long enough to deal with the Icy Atmosphere. But one way or the other, there's one or possibly all of the dread will be accounted for, provided that we don't have an inconveniently timed Season of Despair. In the meantime, I should be considering what I want to do with the work slot. So in this case, it's always sort of the tension between, do I want to try and make some money through something like painting, or my regular job, or do I want to do a commission? Commission doesn't necessarily generate money directly, but it can generate some inputs that are helpful for my upgrades and such. In this particular case here, we've got less than 10 funds, and I do still have some more expeditions to do, so I'm going to go back to the appointment at the Quiet Parish. And then when the opportunity comes, I will be using the passion to do the various paintings. In this particular case here, I would actually like to start earning some more money, and the money that I can earn from the commissions in the form of the Spintrea, that money is only available to me if I use Oriflammes, and if I go to Oriflammes, that means I'm not able to use my other expeditions. So in this case, I'd like to be a little more liquid than what I currently am, because in the end, we're going to need. I actually think we need more than 2 for these, but let's just say 2. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So we know we don't have enough to be able to handle the expeditions we already have. So we'll take our appointment to the Quiet Parish. We'll take the Formula Vigilant, Passion. So Passion gives me a 50-second timer as opposed to a 60. I'll speak to their souls, and if I speak with conviction, their souls may answer me. We have the danger of generating notoriety, but that's never been a problem for me before, so... Let's do... I think we get the erudition one if I do the Painted River here. Or possibly a fascination, but we can use that to tranquilize the dread, so it's a little bit safer in this case. I'm ready to improve. The Painted River runs from a great chamber near the White Door, far through the Mantis to its far edge where it enters a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night with a stern-faced captain beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind. And all the while, the captain and I discoursed on the secrets of the House of the Sun. So, one thing I could do is to use the study verb to combine these two, try to upgrade the winter into a single object that I can deal with. There is some sense to that, for the simple reason that I have to deal with one dread as opposed to 2, but I think I've got a pretty decent game plan for handling the dread that will come up, so in this case I'm going to risk it. But of course, you can all enjoy me eating my words later when it turns out that I'm I'm hurt by that. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. Calling upon the watchman who illuminates will almost certainly find this hidden door. Finally, we're finished reading the irreproachable traditions of the Society of the Noble Endeavor. Partridge claims to have identified consistent features among those who ascended. All of them had passed the stag door and were accounted no. All of them spoke the Chalidate invocation, or a greater rite, at the start of their ascension, and all of them were rich. So, we've got our Ardent Orison. Trying to remember which one is the Chalidate invocation. Oh, right, it's Forge. So I'm trying to remember that. So you've got a few of these in terms of how... the different steps that you take, right? So in order to ascend through the Mansa, you do... it's when you do the Temptation Enlightenment, you need to move up to a certain level to be able to get through the... Like, basically, if you want to achieve one of these victories, you have to go through the stag door, or be able to go through the stag door, I suppose is the better one, because you don't have your desire otherwise. So that's that first one. I'm trying to remember what the Chalidate invocation, what that part is about. That may just only be relevant to the Forge Ascension, but anyways, I'll figure it. It's not immediately registering for me right now, but we have other things that we can do, so I won't spend too much time thinking about it. But that one, again, you can almost think of that, again, it kind of comes back to the claim that this game doesn't have a tutorial. It's like, well, it has more of a tutorial than it used to, but in this particular case here, you can actually kind of see how the game does give you all of its secrets, but it gives it to you in a way that... you don't always necessarily recognize it until after you've solved the puzzle, and you can just appreciate what was dangling in front of you before. And of course, sometimes when you realize them, that lets you look elsewhere, and that can sometimes give you a little bit of an edge. Anyways. Let's keep reading. So we've got the Serenity of the Black Wood, an allegorical history of the House of Leith, who it is here implied were inspired by the centipede. Serrano Blackwood is an occult alias to this day. The proverbial footloose gathers travelers in a wood and leads them through, but abandons them part way. They find themselves beset by glorious monsters. Okay, so the contentment got picked up. Tristan interludes we don't need to worry about, and we have a season of vision, so I do need to be a little mindful of any fascination that I generate. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. Okay, so let's think about the talk verb. Is there anything that I want to do? One thing I could try is to go through the spider door, which would mean doing abductions. That would be... probably something for Rhaenyra or Saliba to get a handle on. I guess the question is, I mean, we're past the point of really caring about notoriety. We're going to be generating a lot of that, really no matter what. I'm just trying to think if there's something else that I could do with the talk verb right now. Not really, so I guess the next question is there any benefit to me having Mystique hanging around? I think the answer to that, again, is not really. So, let's have a chat with Clovette and see if we can get lucky with our reputation. We'll wind up generating more Mystique just from from the paintings that we're planning on doing, but I won't worry about that quite yet. Faint lines in stone, a surface that yields to pressure. We found it. The hidden door moves with a grating shudder and a shower of dust. Tonight they listen, but they do not hear. If you use reason with more reasoned doctrines, or passion with more passionate lore, you are more likely to create fervor. So this was just sort of unlucky, really. In this case, this usually winds up generating the fervor that we need, but this is fine. Oh, actually, I need to rest the passion for a bit. We can still work with this, so we'll do a lantern sermon instead. It'll take us a minute, but that's fine. I will speak to their souls, and if I speak with precision, their souls may answer me. It's just because we've got 30 seconds before we have the restlessness, so I'd prefer to be generating some money before I I'd prefer to be generating money sooner rather than later. Alright. Subtle Rupture is not a bad one for me to hang on to be honest. I don't think this is enough, but let's see. In my sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the stag door's scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gearby says suddenly. Before the gods who were flesh, the mantis was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we had not. I wish that I had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures in the stag door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. So let me just work this out. So we've got 6, we've got 16 combined, and we've got the 21st. So I'm actually going to ditch the job for Clovette. I actually want to see if we can try upgrading Enid or Neville. And we'll head back to the stag door for... Yes, we have to. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. We can add funds now, or I could send another follower. The reason why I abandoned the mission for Clovette... Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, we just got that. The reason why I abandoned the mission for Clovette was the simple fact that the subtle rupture will not last long enough, and we're just on the border of what I think we need for the upgrade. The Mother of Ants isn't quite enough, and the Icon of St. Agnes is lower. So I think as long as we have a subtle rupture, we should be able to upgrade Neville and Enid. The travelers discover that they can survive if they close their eyes. They adopt a closed eye as their sign, and that they... Sorry. The travelers discover that they can survive if they close their eyes, they adopt a closed eye as their sign, and that they can go unnoticed if they drink from the clear, cold streams. They never forget that proverbial footloose, the centipede, but they never forgive her either. So this is a centipede testament. If we want, we can go even higher with this lore now. But another little detail, if it wasn't clear already, passion, there's your moth. Alright, so we've got some translations to do, it looks like. So, against the sisterhood of the knot and the foulness of their depraved customs, Hieronymus this is always a tough one. Hypner Timachus wrote this furious screed about the sinister influence of the sisterhood on his own church of the unconquered sun. So we'll take the Greek and translate it. Lock the study door, the work begins. Nothing then. Okay, so we'll take the Society of the Holy Wound. Neville's gaze has grown furtive, and his voice is sometimes shrill. He speaks freely of his dreams. So we will take the Consent of Wounds. To open certain ways, one must first open oneself. This practice outlines that opening in the name of the Mother of Ants. And finally, we will add the Subtle Rupture. Geometry contorts, doors burst open, snakes boil from the earth. Only a rare few, those most suited to the service in our mysteries, may achieve this rank. Wolf Despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. Now, my preference would have been to use dread to get rid of this, but I suspect the fleeting reminiscence will be picked up. There's a couple things that I can do to try and, angle it to my advantage, but I don't think we need to worry too much about it. Call upon the Colonel who cannot be denied. The Colonel is a fierce hour, but a power which knows light, and he has survived worse. His power will almost certainly protect us. I'm always a little curious if you add... Yeah, so in this case we get the Ring-Yu. I don't know if it's because it's level 13, or if just it winds up being the dominant one. I mean, we can add Clovette. It's kind of fun to just add more people. We're strong enough in heart to be almost entirely secure against this curse. subdued ceremony. Tonight they listen, but they do not hear. If you use reason with more reasoned doctrines, or passion with more passionate lore, you're more likely to create fervor. So, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I think in this case we've just gotten a little unlucky with the numbers. So we'll grab our passion here. Now this is going to generate more mystique, but the intention is to get rid of the staleness. More importantly, it's also to get rid of the restlessness. This should have an impact. And Season of Despair coming up, so that's going to be inconvenient. I'm just going to take the trembling heat and move on. Gearby was weeping again. I scooped up his molten tears in my cupped palm. In the dream, my skin peeled and blistered, but only in the dream. So this is going to get a little awkward for a bit, but we'll get through. I'm going to skip paying for the paints. Alright. So we're in a situation now where we will have 2 dread. That's a potential loss for us there. So the contentment is a pretty high priority. I've prepared the text for study. I believe this is still the same text. Yes, so. Hieronymus claims that the powers served by the Sisterhood of the Knot made an arrangement. The Thunderskin loved the Yew, and the Grail destroyed him, as restitution for the destruction of the Axe's loved ones. Hieronymus's writing becomes incoherent with rage at this point. No lock remains, no door remains, no gate remains, no wall remains, no fortress is closed against me, no country forbids me, no law binds but the key of the... No law binds but the law of the mother. I am a key, and this is my use. Neville, a key. In his dreams, Neville sees the flaws where the world and its ways can be opened. So I've got my first level 10 knock. That's a very helpful disciple to have. Not even just for summoning, but just it's nice to be able to have a level 10 knock to come in and open something if you need on an expedition. Okay, so I can't really talk with anyone to generate contentment, and of course I can't really use the dread to... I can't bring people into the society anymore through I can't get rid of the dread through upgrading people till I get higher level knock lore. So in this case, we're going to go back to what we were using my heart followers for. Not everyone is sympathetic to our aims, but we have, if we have problems with a reputation, our disciple can probably smooth them over. All that I am is here. So if this generates fascination, we're safe. We don't need to worry about it. However, if we generate fascination, that's good news for me because we can use that with the dread. So this is one of these cases I actually kind of hope we get it. My recent work has drawn some attention. Something should sell. Okay, so 2 free mystique. There's the contentment that we needed, so that's good news there. And we lost the staleness, so that's also good. So I'm just trying to think if there's something I can do to try and provoke something that will generate a fascination or a contentment. Painting will help me with the contentment. I think for now, though, let's take care of my flock. Improvise a sermon on a secret doctrine. I will speak to their souls, and if I speak with conviction, their souls may answer me. And our power is stronger than the power that was here. The curse won't touch us. So we'll carry on there. Season of Sickness coming up, so it doesn't hurt that we have a bunch of part activities already underway. I am going to keep an eye on my different timers, though. Okay, let's do the Painted River. I'm actually going to want to visit the Painted River a little bit more if I have any free dread kicking around. So there's a great chamber in the mantis through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly, there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. Alright. Still trying to think if there's anything else I want to do with my dream slot right now. We want to get rid of the dread for sure. Is there anything else I was trying to do? Let's start with that. A big worry about this, of course, is if this dread, and if I kind of gamble, if in 12 seconds the dread winds up picked up by the Season of Despair, and likely will. Essentially what happens is I'm down the contentment, it's going to expire before it can be used, and I'm up to dread, which means I can potentially lose the game on the next dread. And of course, because I'm going to be reading a bunch of books, it's actually possible we generate an unexpected dread. So this is a very high priority to work through. And remember that I was different before. We still need to get contentment to get rid of the final despair, but we can definitely work with that. I'm not too worried about... I'm not worried about one despair. We've generally been able to get through that without too much difficulty. I guess we can put it up here. And we get a free turn. Hieronymus recovers his composure, eventually, to describe how the Thunderskin entered the mantis through the peacock door. This, Hieronymus insists, is an abomination upon abomination, but then that most abominable of doors has always been an abomination. So, yet another forbidden epic. What I'm going to have to do here, so remember that these are for the land beyond the forest. And of course, we've already explored all of these. So at this point, we're going to be using these all as upgrades. In practice, because we've got 7 of them, this means that I'll be able to get 3 of the next level in terms of expeditions. But again, my study verb has other uses right now. So we'll translate Deoris Book 2. In Latin, a 19th century reprint by the indefatigable Nathaniel Darcy Evers of a 14th century Latin translation of a 4th century work. Study door, the work begins. Alright, so we ate the mystique. I'm never really happy when we do that, but it was the more likely of the 2 outcomes. We had twice as much mystique on the table as we did notoriety. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. So this is one of these cases where I would actually prefer to use vitality to recover from the sickness, and this is just simply a consideration of the fact that I need to spend a bunch of money on some expeditions. Behind a rotting tapestry of wolves hunting men, a paneled wall. In the paneled wall, a secret door. The spring has long gone, of course. We had to smash it in with hammers. The last treasures of the Comte de Reveline lie here, in a surprisingly airy room. High skylight windows have long since broken, and the floor is lost underneath leaves and debris. But once the place was furnished as a nursery, here is a cradle with the skeleton of a puppy. So, thank you, Clovette. More notoriety. Got a raw profit, but no evidence we need to worry about. Thank you, Slee. Thank you, Pope Clifton. Thank you, Percussagant. And, of course, what we came for. The high mysteries of the innermost chamber of our church solar. Replacement Gradon oil if I want to do some more winter painting. The Morphe Codex. Book of True Blood. And a Cinnabar Amulet, a forge artifact, which we actually don't have too many of. Figure I'd put the pigments. This just reminds me of ones that I need to make. I've cheated a little bit in terms of placement. I mean, I've technically cheated here. I guess we can move it over. But as far as paintings go, I have 3 more. Lantern, now that will probably generate fascination. Martensite paste for the edge painting. Again, that one's really just because I can. I think even the Wildering... Yeah, no, the Wildering Mirror is also something. So I technically don't really need anything but the heart one. But they're nice to collect. Okay. I do want to go back onto another expedition. Like I said, we do want to be watching our finances a bit, but, I mean, the point of having the money is to use it, right? So... In this case, the unnumbered stones, megaliths placed in obsessive, inerrant rows by priest casts long dead. Time has long erased the original bloodstains, but on moonless nights, the locals supplement what remains. Hidden chambers might guard hidden treasures. Treasure seekers visiting the stones must penetrate the forest that conceals them, grapple with the locals who revere them, and finally be prepared to do some digging, even if they can find the hidden door. So it sounds to me like Moth and Nock are going to be the real stars here. Let us carry on. And this is good news. Exaltation. Sometimes my words and those I have borrowed move my congregation beyond mere concentration to exaltation. In the house of the sun, the dance of the angels of glory does not cease. Those who were cast down, wave or wound or snow, are gone from the house, and as long as their parts in the dance are filled, they may never return. Therefore let us join hands and add our little steps to the dance. All right, I think we're just going to do the same thing as before. Oh, but I don't have the passion for it, so I think we'll wait the 8 seconds. What I want to be doing is provoking hard as much as possible to be able to potentially get the vitality. I mean, I could do a reasoned sermon, but even waiting for the passion, I still get like 0.2 seconds more. So I get it 0.2 seconds faster. I mean. Improvise upon a secret doctrine before a fervent congregation. This congregation is already in a state of excitement. Any secret knowledge will almost certainly drive them to exaltation. All right. The expedition continues. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I can add funds now, or I could send another follower. Now, of course, I am going to need to add the money. Excuse me. Let's deal with Moth. So Moth should take us through the peril-prowled forest. Long ago, the primal trees marched from sea to sea. Some traces of their reign still survive, like this dense and choking territory of root and thorn. The practicalities of Forge or the mysteries of Moth may see us through. Watchers, mortals, perhaps even ordinary mortals, but quite a number of them. They can be fought, seduced, or deceived. And finally, a hidden door. Hidden doors can be found with lantern or knock. So in this case, we will add one of our Moth followers because that deals with 2 obstacles. We'll add funds, and then we will add probably Neville just because it's, one character who can get through the door. If we do wind up generating any heart because of the presence of the percussagant, it will probably be too late, so I'm not too worried about it. No one understands us, or else they understand us too well. So in this case, I think it still makes sense to send Dorothy or Clovette. Apparently I keep forgetting. I don't keep forgetting, I just keep not mentioning Leo. We'll still keep doing this because it potentially generates a vitality, or it generates an... actually, no, I think that would generate a vitality. The sun still moves, the wind still walks. My journals are the labyrinth clue. And back through... Actually... I'm going to do the white door this time just because, again, I'm using heart, so that might give me a chance to get a little more health. Our devotion has drawn comment, so I'm not too worried about the mystique. And we're still on the Season of Silence coming up. In a couple seconds we'll see whether or not we're in trouble. Call upon the moth who seeks among the trees of the wood. So we're going to add the money right now. One, this is just so I don't wind up with my money sort of taken out from under me when rent comes due. But more importantly, if I add a follower now, and we lose them to the Watchers, particularly if it's Neville, I'm done for. Like, there's no way that I'm going to have... Well, not done for, but I'm going to have quite a bit more difficulty with the door than I need. So I want to wait until I get past the Watchers before I add any more bodies to the expedition. The illness has damaged my health. I will need to rest before I'm fully recovered. So we'll just wait on that. We've got 3 minutes, so it's possible we can heal ourselves. There is also one way that we can take advantage of the affliction. I'm just not quite sure if I'm ready for that yet. I prepared the text for study, so let's read our new book. An occasionally coherent catalog of the secret gods. This is an English translation of a volume describing the enmity between the Lionsmith and the Tribune of Scars. This volume deals mostly with the Lionsmith, the Tribune of Scars, and their enmity. Where have I heard that before? last their fervor is spent. What have they made of this night? Fervor and lore together will almost always cause exaltation, but we'll use up the fervor. Well, again, we're just doing this for the money at this point, so... I could do another painting if I wanted, but in this case, you know, we don't have the staleness. I do kind of need the money, but we do have a reliable way of generating cash through our sermons. So I think we're just going to go and do another passionate sermon. I will speak to their souls, and if I speak with conviction, their souls may answer me. I know, again, we always have the option. If I want vitality, I can just work with the health card, but I sort of said earlier I didn't want to do that, and I'm going to kind of stick to that principle. But with all of that in mind, I think we've reached our time together. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, if you are enjoying the series and have not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. I'm definitely looking to grow, and it helps me to sort of keep an eye on what's working out. And of course, if you did enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like, and if you want to help either with the discovery of the videos, or alternatively, if you're enjoying the series and just want to express that, please feel free to leave a comment. I definitely read all of them, and where I can, I try to respond as frequently as I can. That, of course, may be a reason not to leave a comment, but I leave that to your good judgment. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.